Hey swarmers, welcome back to the hive. You know the drill, right? Hit this button right here and then the little bell and you'll always be the first to know when a new video drops. Whether it's through a conversation with a climate change denier, or now more accurately described as a climate delayer or distractor, you've likely tried to answer questions about the Earth's natural climate cycles. Or maybe these are just questions that you've asked yourself at 2 a.m. in a somewhat misguided attempt to quell the noise of climate anxiety. The Earth and the universe in which it is located are wondrous things. Complex, intricate, intertwined, fragile and robust all at once, and incredibly beautiful. We've explored some of the interconnectedness that we've written in pieces on planetary boundaries and a video on biodiversity, and we'll link to those below. But as I was saying, interconnectedness. And the Earth's climate system is no exception. There are 5 components to the climate system, all interacting with each other. The atmosphere, the hydrosphere, oceans, rivers and lakes, the cryosphere, ice and snow, the lithosphere, land, and the biosphere, marine and terrestrial plants and animals. The global climate system is predominantly driven by the energy from the sun. About 30% of this solar radiation is bounced right back to space from the atmosphere, while the remaining 70% reaches the Earth's surface, the majority of which is absorbed, but a small percentage is then also reflected back to space. The sun's brightness isn't always stable. Over an 11-year cycle, it dims and brightens. Radiation levels fluctuate, and the activity observed on the sun's surface, like the occurrence of sunspots and solar flares, changes. So given all of this information, it's not hard to see the sense in an argument for global warming being caused by the sun, plain and simple. But that has definitely been disproved as a hypothesis. December 2019 saw the end of solar cycle 24, and during most of the year the sunspot activity was very low. However, 2019 was the 3rd warmest year in 140 years of records. 2020 is the second on the list. So these peaks and troughs in solar activity cannot explain the consistently rising temperatures, and in particular, the fact that the temperatures are getting higher in the lower parts of the atmosphere only. If solar activity were to blame for increasing global temperatures, we would see an even distribution of this heat at all altitudes. The Milankovitch cycles are another pattern of activity which can impact global climate. These include 3 types of Earth's orbital movement, and the effect they have on how much solar radiation reaches the Earth's atmosphere. These cyclical orbital movements can cause variations of up to 25% of solar radiation at the Earth's middle latitudes. The cycles include the shape of the Earth's orbit, called eccentricity, the angle Earth's axis is tilted with respect to the orbital plane, known as obliquity, and the direction Earth's axis of rotation is pointed, called precession. So let's take a closer look. Eccentricity. The Earth's orbit around the Sun doesn't write a perfect circle in space. Over time, the gravitational pull from Jupiter and Saturn send Earth into a slightly elliptical orbit. This means that at some times we're closer to the Sun than at other times. When we're at our most elliptical, about 23% more solar radiation reaches Earth in January than it does in July. These cycles are approximately 100,000 years long. Obliquity. This is the reason we have seasons. The greater the tilt, the more extreme the seasons, because more of the hemisphere is either facing to or away from the sun. We are about halfway between minimum and maximum tilts, gradually heading to the minimum, which will reach in about 9,800 years from now. The full cycle is approximately 41,000 years. Precession. This is the little wobble of Earth as it spins on its axis. Think of it like a spinning top being ever so slightly off-center. It's the gravitational pull of the sun and moon which causes this to happen, because it makes the Earth bulge a little at the equator. The trend of the wobble's direction, or axial precession, is measured by looking at the position of the axis in relation to the fixed position of the stars. This cycle spans about 25,771 years. The Earth also wobbles on its elliptical orbit, again due to the pull of Saturn and Jupiter. This is apsidal precession, and the cycle is about 112,000 years long. Both of these cycles affect the severity of seasonal variations and season length. The combined effect of both is a precession cycle of about 23,000 years. Although these are super interesting phenomena and do impact seasons, they are not an answer to the continual and rapid rise in global average temperatures. That trend, aka global warming, as part of the greater concept of climate change, is all down to us. And the clear, necessary action to help abate it is to stop using fossil fuels to power our lives. I don't mean to oversimplify it. It's not as easy as flicking a switch. Well, the wealthy and powerful people ruling our countries are making it seem much more complicated than it is. So we encourage and appreciate every action that you all take to live more sustainably. But we also ask that you petition your local government officials relentlessly to stop subsidising fossil fuels and start making our transition to a renewable energy future. Thank you again for joining us, Swarmers. We love having you here with us in the hive. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay sustainable.